here this morning, number 29, Barrett Long from Miami, Florida, on the Longevity Racing Ducati 1199. 18th starter is number 123. It's Jock Gonzalez from Venezuela, the 123 Motorsports Kawasaki ZX-10. In the 17th starting spot, Orange Park, Florida's Reese Wacker on the Pilot Travel Centers Racing Suzuki. Going off 16th, wearing number 10 on the motorcycle, from Palm Beach Gardens. Let's take just a moment and check in one final time. We'll check in with Danielle Teal. We'll be back to conclude our starting lineup. Danielle.
Yesterday's race was probably one of the best superbike races we've seen in a long time. Josh Hayes has a little bit of redemption under his belt. He got a little yesterday. We know today is going to be much of the same. As he said, he knows they're going to be out to get him in this race. Guys.
That man has definitely got a target on his back bigger than Danielle. And that's not very big, of course. Danielle, thank you so much. Danielle Teal reporting live for us all weekend from pit road. 16th starter, number 10, Sean Dwyer from Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, on the Vicious Cycle Racing Kawasaki. Going off 15th, the Foremost Insurance Pegram Racing Team rider, star of Superbike family. Now on an EBR 1190 RS, I'm glad to see that for the Hebron, Ohio's Larry Pegram, a former dirt track star. Starting 14th, number 75, Huntley Nash from Marietta, Georgia, up in Scott Russell's country on the Nera Racing Kawasaki, number 75. Your 13th starter from Boca Raton, Florida. He was 10th yesterday in race number 1 on the DMS Racing Kawasaki as we hear the machines ripping out for their sighting lap. Number 37, Stefano Mesa. Your 4th row is number 80, Diego Perlici from Buenos Aires, Argentina. Starting in the 11th starting spot in the M4 Motorcycle Road Racing Honda out of Lake Elsinore, California, that's Chris Ulrich. Going off 10th, number 76, Vermont Martinez from Spain on the Prototech Spain Yamaha R1. Up to the 3rd row we go. Number 13 starts 9th, Corey West, a former Rookie of the Year out of Eureka Springs, Arkansas. He was 9th yesterday on his team, Anzoil Hero EBR 1190 RS. Starting in the 8th spot, 8th yesterday, Lapeer, Michigan's Taylor Knapp, number 44, making his first start this weekend for the TOBC Racing Team on the Suzuki. Going off 7th, Marietta, California's Aussie Dave Anthony, number 25, with a solid top 5 yesterday for the ADR Motorsports Motul Fly Racing Suzuki team. Starting in the 6th spot, he was 3rd in this race last year. He was 6th yesterday. From Oxford, Michigan, the KTM HMC Racing, number 11, Chris Fillmore on the KTM RC8R. A very beautiful, dramatic motorcycle. You gotta see this bike live. Starting in the 5th starting spot, from Las Vegas, Nevada, Chris Clark, number 6, was 4th yesterday on the Yoshimura Suzuki factory racing machine. Going off in the 4th starting spot, he definitely had some issues yesterday. He was 2nd in the race, in this race last year. Medellin, Colombia's Yoshimura Suzuki factory racing star, Martin Cardenas. In 2012, this man had 16 wins. Last year, he had 8 poles and 8 wins. He won yesterday in a dogfight of a race out of Gulfport, Mississippi. A 4-time Superbike champion and the only past Superbike champion in the field today. Josh Hayes, the Mississippi Madman, wearing number 4 on his Yamaha R1, will start outside of row number 1. In the middle of row number 1 is the man you heard from, thanks to Danielle Teal a few moments ago. He was 3rd in Gatorade Victory Lane podium yesterday. The other star out of the Monster Energy Graves Yamaha team, Cam Beaubier. And now, too, a former Rookie of the Year who finished 2nd yesterday, could have easily won it. I got a feeling Raj has come to do battle today at the World Center of Racing for his new team, the Yoshimura Suzuki factory team. Keep an eye on Owensboro, Kentucky's number 95, Roger Lee Hayden. And they're off. Heading off into turn number 1 for the first time.
Oh yeah, Cam cut the nose off of Roger right there as they made that last bend. It's kind of a double apex corner when you go into turn 1, but Roger leads them through this first time, and Cam makes his way around the outside of him, chops him off, leads it into the first horseshoe right now.
And in the 3 spot is number 4, Josh Hayden. He's got a real good look at the rear of that Yoshimura Suzuki factory bike in front of him. Hayes, for the moment, looked to the inside of Roger, decided better of it, fell back in line. American Superbike well underway now. You can see the 11 of Fillmore, the KTM RC8R. He's up in the mix here. I got a feeling Fillmore's going to be getting it all out of that KTM today after a good result yesterday.
Yeah, he's looking for something good today. Obviously, it was a nice finish for them yesterday. He's out there riding without a slipper clutch. They had some issues with that motorcycle leading into the weekend. Had to go back to the old school way of riding. That means he's got to use his clutch finger as he downshifts his bike into the corner, which is kind of the way we used to ride these motorcycles. So Fillmore's a very talented young rider, and he'll get the most out of that KTM.
Martin Cardenas getting a little bit antsy back there behind the 4 of Josh Hayes. I believe for a moment he looked like he was going to make a move on him. They head up on the banking. Hayes gets a good run on Roger Hayden. It's at this point of the racetrack that the draft is fully on here at Daytona. You kind of get the feeling Josh is being patient and biding his time here a little bit. Scott, or is he going to make his move here?
I mean, this is a different look for Josh. As we know, he led off yesterday early. Obviously, he wants to stay in contact with his teammate. So Roger's really probably not as much of a concern as Cam Beaubier to him at this point right now. And now he's made the move into second, so I assume that he's going to camp out on the rear wheel of his teammate. He may try to make a move right here, but yeah,
it's not his style to Cam.
No, but Cam's not going to give it up easy. It's going to be one of these style. He'll square it up, try to get the run underneath him. Josh did a great job of closing that inside off as he exits that International Horseshoe.
The teammates of the Monster Energy Great Yamaha team doing the classic inside-out dance. Roger Hayden about 3 bike lengths back in the 3 spot. He is looking like he, to me, is a very poised professional this weekend, as he is always. But Roger seems to have a quiet confidence that he's got what it takes on that Yoshimura Suzuki bike. You know, Scott, I talked with him a little bit. He said that the electronics are a little different on this package, even though it's still a Suzuki, as he had written for the Jordan Suzuki team. The bike's got a little bit of a different feel, but I think by now he's easily adapted to that.
I'm going to go with it's got a better feel, because this is a team that's been in the AMA series forever. And they've really got these Suzukis dialed in right now. The Jordan team last year, I don't think was quite maybe up to par with what you're seeing right now with what he's got. So he's got the best Suzuki that he could possibly be on in America right now. So he's taken to it no problem yesterday, nearly won the race. So he's coming to grips with that different electronic package very well.
Being from Owensboro, Kentucky, he's from Owensboro, Kentucky. I know the whole clan there. Wanted to give a shout out to the folks back in Owensboro joining us here on fanschoice.tv, watching their favorite son right now in the sunshine at Daytona, running in the 3 spot, looking very, very poised. The man who I'm focused on right now is the 2 of Cam Beaubier. He was 3rd place yesterday, was Cam. He won this race in 2013. He knows he can find the top of the box at Gatorade Victory Lane, and he is staying very nicely with his teammate right now, Josh Hayes, up front.
Oh, Martin made a move right there on Roger's teammate. They have a braking duel as they go into the tight right. I'm not sure if he pulled that off. He looked down the inside. That's a tough corner to really make that work on Superbike. A lot of pressure on the hands on the heavy braking zone right there from these Suzuki riders going at it. Now we're coming to that section right here. This next corner to the right, it's got a couple of ripple bumps in it, and that's where Martin fell down yesterday. So he's going to try everything he can to stay on top of that Yoshimura Suzuki today and grab some points here out of Daytona.
And Martin can strike quickly. Martin has a way of sneaking up on a guy. He'll follow you, he'll follow you, he'll follow you, and all of a sudden, if you give him just the slightest bit, a little bit of room, he'll just go like a surgeon right in there and take it away from you just like that.
That's right. He'll strike. If you just crack the door open, he'll kick it open. Now, the Yamaha guys have got great drives out of chicane right now. They've got the 2 Yosh Suzukis. We'll see how that comes back. A little bit of an accordion effect here, but you go off the back straightaway, down into turn 1 here as they come through the tri-oval. Hard braking zone into 1. I suspect the Suzukis will be able to make up a lot of that ground they lost, but the Yamaha boys are really jetting away.
Well, they are. You've got your Yamaha factory team up front, Yoshimura Suzuki factory team battling for the 3 spot. Josh Hayes, not that lap, but the prior lap set the fast lap of the race at a 1:38.062. Beaubier and Hayden, of course, and Martin Cardenas are all in the 1:38.1, so we've got us a race here. I'm a little bit surprised the draft hasn't kept all 4 of these together, Scott.
Well, it's that drive out of the chicane, you know, and they're getting a little bit of a break right now as they go through the infield. the two Yamahas over the two Suzukis, and that just, you know, you kind of got to be closer on these superbikes to really pull that draft. And really, you've only got one banking on this racetrack to really have that draft come into play. So Josh has done a great job of controlling the race so far. A couple of different lines and different spots I see. They definitely have a different ride style. I talked about that a little bit yesterday. But Josh, you know, knows that the heat's coming. You know, he knows that this will be a year that he's got a legit challenger on the same motorcycle. Josh Hayes won the championship last year. I feel he kind of had it handed to him in a way. Doesn't matter as long as you win it. But this year, Josh knows he's going to have to earn every race win, and to beat Cam Beaubier in the championship is going to be a dogfight, I think, all the way through.
We are watching one of the best in the business in American Superbike up front, but he's got a challenge coming here out of turn number 4 into the tri-oval. His teammate is on the throttle here and gets the job done if he can hold it. Now the Monster Energy Graves Yamaha team riders have changed positions, and Cam Beaubier leads them across the stripe.
What set that up was Hayes got out of the chicane and the bike wheelied up. The bikes have wheelie control, and that means when the front wheel comes up, the ignition starts to cut. However they decide to bring that in, there's a lot of different ways they can bring that in and cut that, but it makes the front end dive that down. It loses a little bit of power, and that allowed Cam Beaubier to drive right around the underneath Josh in NASCAR 3 and 4.
And that's kind of a confidence builder for Beaubier to get to make a move on his teammate right now, get in front of him. Roger Hayden is well within striking distance. He's 2 or 3 bike lengths. I don't even call that a gap. He's right there where he can make something happen. And Roger Hayden is having a good go of it here in the 3 spot. Roger just turned in the fast lap of the race last time through the tri-oval. 1:37.890, the only man to get in the sub 138s.
Well, we knew we were going to see 37s. We saw a low 37 by Cam Beaubier yesterday be the fastest lap of the race. Roger's your pole sitter. It looks like he eclipsed basically what he did on pole right there. He did a 37.6 for the pole. So he knew he had that in him. He knew he had to claw back that little bit of mistake by Hayes on the exit of the corner we're entering in now. The last lap allowed him to claw that back. And let's see how they exit this time. Both the Yamahas wheelie a little bit, but they get that such a good drive, Barry, out of that chicane.
You're listening to Scott Russell if you're just joining us from our coverage live flag to flag here at the World Center of Racing on fanschoice.tv. Welcome aboard if you've just joined us here in the last 30 minutes or so. American Superbike on track 4 of 15 currently in the record books, and the top 4 broken away from the field, and it is a 4-rider battle, believe it or not, for the win, because this deal is a long way from being settled. Hayes under braking runs just a little bit wide. He was trying to challenge his teammate Beaubier up front, and both of the Yoshimura Suzuki factory riders went right by him on the inside as he went just about 2 bike lengths wide.
Well, he's typically been taking a tighter line into one. Cam takes a little bit of a wider line. That time Josh was down low, thought, well, I might jump to the outside, and he almost hit his teammate in the back wheel and had to let it run wide. That opened the door for these Yoshi Suzukis to take that spot. As long as he can keep the 2 close, he's not too worried right now. He knows he can get back by these Suzukis possibly on the bank.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but my view yesterday of Roger Hayden was he spent the better part of that race preserving his rear tire, saving his motorcycle for the last few laps when he made the charge. Do you agree?
I think there might be something to that. There could be the fact that you know, he just couldn't actually make a move yesterday on those Yamahas. So nevertheless, he's done a great job yesterday and yesterday was a great practice run of what he's going to have to deal with again here today. It could be a different player in the number 2 though when they come to the line this time.
So looking at our top 4, and we're not watching anything else on the racetrack because this is the important battle right now. This is what it's all about. The championship chase began yesterday. It is fully on here. I'm wondering right now about Josh Hayes riding back there in the 4th spot. I don't believe he's going to be content to ride there. And as I say that, Roger Hayden shows he's not too content to ride the 2 spot. He took a look at our race leader through the tri-oval.
He took a look. I don't know if he's got the outright speed to pull out past the Yamahas. I mean, it's going to have to be perfectly timed from what I see today and from what I saw yesterday that the Yamahas have really good top speed. So do the Suzuki. Therefore, it's got to be done perfectly. You pull out of the draft, and it's kind of like he just kind of runs out of steam, and there's nothing left. So they're so very equally matched, is what I'm saying. So to make the draft at the finish, it's going to have to time perfectly, and it's going to be difficult for Roger to pull that off.
A moment ago, while we were talking, Josh Hayes did make the move around Cardenas. That puts him in the 3 spot behind Hayden. Hayden knows he's back there. He can probably hear that deep rumble of that R1. It's got a completely different sound with that cross-plane crankshaft. Roger knows what's behind him, and he knows what's in front of him. Right now, he is the standard bearer for the Yoshimura Suzuki factory team, and he's doing a nice job of representing the team here at Daytona International Speedway. Is he saving anything for the end? Does he have what it takes to find the top of the box over Cam Beaubier? We're all going to know that here in a few moments as we are approaching the halfway spot in our American Superbike race number 2 here from Daytona International Speedway. High up on the banking, a lot of fans love to stand down in that turn 4 area, Scott. It's artful. It looks like art stuck on a wall. It's just a beautiful thing. Man and machine in a little tiny streamlined tuck, approaching 200 mile an hour through the tri-oval or exceeding it.
There's Hayes, goes right around the outside of Roger, down on the braking zone into turn 1. Oh, he runs it a little bit wide. Both the Yamahas run it wide. Roger's going to have his shot up front.
He did what you talked about in our open. He got sucked up in that draft and couldn't get it woed down because he crossed the stripe at 202. That is about 6 or 8 mile an hour faster than everyone else through the tri-oval. So I'm thinking, I'm learning from you. I'm thinking you just couldn't get it woed down.
I mean, the Superbikes, like you said, coming off a 200 mile an hour down to a first gear corner. Yeah, it's difficult to woe these things down, and he's did a great job. And luckily, like you talked about, there's a lot of pavement out there in turn 1. So that allows the rider to make a little bit of a mistake, but recover without it being disastrous. So we've seen it from both the Yamaha guys now. Can the Suzuki guys keep it together? We got a real race going on here now. Raj leads it for the first time.
I was just getting ready to say the same. If he can survive to lead back to the stripe, this race will have a brand new race leader. And Raj, after he got the job done, is beginning to put a pretty good gap on Beaubier. Roger Hayden, number 95, is in the race lead at Daytona, heading into the chicane.
Martin all out of shape on the brake. He's really riding hard today right now. This is the Martin that we wanted to see yesterday. Made a slight mistake, but he's pushing that Yoshimura Suzuki very hard. Josh Hayes on the tail end of that group. Different look for him. He's not used to seeing this kind of thing right here.
He's used to being the guy up front getting love bugs on the front of his face shield, but not today. He's in the back. The battle is on here through the tri-oval. Beaubier will reassume the point. Can he hold it going into turn number 1? We shall see. Roger tries a little bit higher line on the approach, hoping to find room underneath the Beaubier, but it wasn't there. Beaubier able to hold the bike down on the bottom of the racetrack, but Roger is where he needs to be. He is all over the back end of that Monster Energy Graves Yamaha.
That was a nice move by Hayes in turn 1 to muscle Martin Cardenas right out of the way and takes that 3rd spot away. You can see Martin out on the outside of the number 4 right now as the number 2 jets away off the Denfield straightaway. To me, looks like the Yamahas can pass the Suzukis easier, and there's another pass. Beautiful move by Josh Hayes. He don't want to fool around with these Suzukis anymore. He wants to get back up there in touch with his teammate and get back to business.
He's been up there 2 or 3 times, Scott, and a little tiny error, but you can't make any kind of error here and not be passed in this type of battle. We'll see if he can hang on and proceed on up to the head of the class. Right now, Roger's got the measure in this field at the moment.
I can tell you from experience, when you're in a 4 or 5 bike draft and you come into turn 1, it's so easy to miss your brake marker just by a few feet. And you know, you're already pushing it to the maximum every time in there. So just that little bit of, just a couple feet too long, and you've seen the 2 Yamaha guys make mistakes on the brakes and have to run it wide. So that's how fine of a line we're talking about riding right now. And that's where these guys ride these bikes out on the edge of the envelope all the time. So just getting into that draft, this is a track that they don't have to deal with this anywhere else. So Daytona is definitely a place of its own, unique place in its own. And these riders, oh, Josh has got issues.
Josh, he does, got his foot out, indicating to the field he's got a problem.
Wow.
Josh Hayes is off the pace in the tri-oval, ladies and gentlemen. The Monster Energy Graves Yamaha team is scrambling down there right now, but there's not much they can do. He's going directly out to the outside of the racetrack. He's off the racing line. Being the veteran that he is, he knows that's what he's got to do. What's up with that?
Wow, that's all I can say. I mean, the Yamahas have been bulletproof for years, and now this is the 2nd year in a row. It appears that the Yamahas had some sort of mechanical issue, and Josh Hayes, our previous champ and race winner from yesterday, looks like he's out.
Unquestionably, he can't recover from this, I don't think. And now there's a bike on the ground.
That might be Sean Dwyer, I believe. It's hard to tell, but
he's up and on his feet, which is the good news. The bike looks like it's got a little damage on it.
They need to get the bike out of the impact zone. That's the first thing these guys need to do.
We're going to get another look at it, Scott.
Coming down to the brakes. See the rider coming in hot, the last rider in line. He gets in a little bit wide. Oh, and he runs out of room there. What happens here, Barry, is he just still got the front brake on.
Yep.
The real issue is the hay bales here, because it doesn't allow a rider an escape route. Once you enter the grass, you're almost guaranteed to fall because of the hay bales.
You don't have enough
no
runoff
brake in them.
Right.
They do that so the bikes that have issues won't come back onto the track. So you really can't make a mistake going in the chicane. That's what happens.
And your best bet is if you blow it all together and stay up on the tarmac and head on. Now the race lead is back to the stripe, and it's 95. Roger Hayden up front. Martin Cardenas, his teammate, on the bottom of the racetrack behind him. Cam Beaubier, the man who won this race last year and came up a little short in third yesterday, hoping to repeat, is back in the 3 spot. He alone now will carry the Monster Energy Graves Yamaha colors to the podium. If he can get there, he'd like to be in the #1 spot, but I believe that taking that spot away from number 95 now, Roger Hayden, is going to be a man-sized job. You're going to have to wrestle that spot away from Roger, I believe, Scott, unless something happens to the motorcycle.
Yeah, Roger's the veteran in this group right now.
Isn't that amazing?
Roger's been around. He's still a young man. He's been around for a long, long time. So he's got more experience than either one of these two guys by far on superbikes. The two guys behind him are so crafty in the way they race, and they've proved it in the 600 class. In the last several years, Martina past champion, Beaubier ran away with it last year. So their racecraft is very good. And now we're going to see, does this come into play? Does Beaubier sit in the back and just kind of watch? Because he knows his Yamaha's quicker. I've seen him pass him by NASCAR 4, so that could easily win in the race, and he knows that.
And you said yesterday here at Daytona, the place to be is in a tight drafting situation is not in the front of the racetrack. It's back about 3, 4, or 5 spots. So perhaps he is using some of that Scott Russell mentality.
Let's watch it right here. I mean, we're going to see. I don't think he's going to show too much of his hand right here. I think he's sitting. He could have easily drove up and passed those guys already. We've seen him do it already. So he's going to sit in there. Look, this is a little bit of a test right here. Okay,
whoa.
Yeah, I can do that, see? Now
and Roger was surprised that he was there, I think, that late in the game.
Yeah, so now he's got a different outlook. Now he's like, I know I can drive past him by the start-finish line, but do I want to fool with that?
Do I want to
take a chance, or do I want to get out front and control this thing?
Do I want to be a setting duck here, or do I want to try to use a little strategy? That's his question that he must answer, and he and only he alone can make that choice. No communication with his team. For our NASCAR fans, these guys do not have radio comm with pit road, so they're making their own choices out there. There's another major difference too. They've got 1.5 inches of rubber Dunlop tire contact patch on the front and the back, which is amazing, as Roger Hayden had a little bit of a moment there, spun the rear tire a little bit, I guess, on corner exit. Yeah, he's getting the most out of that tire you're talking about right there, Barry. He's really squeezing that thing hard on the exit of the corner. They have traction control on these motorcycles, which allows them to kind of open the throttle, and then the butterflies will open to a certain degree, and not full throttle in a lot of cases. But you know, it's hard to say how much these guys choose to run. There is an option; they can run more or less. So that's a beautiful thing for these riders on superbikes. With pumping out this kind of horsepower, really puts the Beaubier with a mistake right there. He ran it in too deep. Luckily, he stayed out of the grass on that and somehow retained the lead. Well, I'm not the color analyst on this team, and I agree with your call. I would like to add to it, however, that Cardenas was showing both the corners prior to that he was getting a little bit impatient. He wants that spot, and that just opened the door for him to make a stab at taking it. Didn't work out for him, but he's there. Here's Raj. He's going to try that draft move now as he works around the outside of his teammate through the tri-oval. It didn't quite work, but we'll see what happens in the shutoff contest into turn number 1. You can see how strong that Yamaha is. I mean, when you can hold that run from the chicane to start-finish line with really out of challenge from either one of these Suzukis I'm trying to pass you, I think he's in a good spot at number 2 right now. He just can't make any mistakes like he made yesterday. Definitely learned from that yesterday, and he's a smart kid. Don't suspect he'll do that again. But there's 2 great riders right there with him as well. Smart. Oh, we're talking about the three of the best road racers that America has to offer right now at the head of this field, trying to slug it out. It's interesting, isn't it? It's a Yamaha Suzuki battle right now of the highest order, and it matters to these teams. It matters to these factories. When you leave Daytona and you're atop that box, you're going to be on every magazine and every website cover pretty much out there that covers our sport. And it is very, very vitally important. Win on Sunday, sell on Monday. We'll call it win on Saturday, sell on Monday, but it's still very much alive and well in America today.
Exactly. That's what it's all about for these manufacturers, is to win races, sell motorcycles, and that's what the Yamaha has done such a great job. Suzuki as well in the past 10 years. I mean, these two companies have basically owned this series. You know, it's been a Yamaha or Suzuki series for the last 10 years. And this battle continues to rage on as they come around NASCAR 4.
Oh, here it is up front. The draft is on. Roger Lee takes a look on the inside of Beaubier. Excuse me, that was Cardenas. And Raj took a look, but he got on the yellow paint stripe down there and had really a kind of a scary moment, did he not?
He did a couple of laps ago when Beaubier spooked him. So, I mean, you can run down there on that low line right there, but you know, at these speeds, man, I mean, the draft can pull you up into a guy, you know, so you got to be real careful running around on these super bikes at that kind of speed.
That happens to me on my Kimco out on the interstate, passing a semi truck, and you can just suck right in there. You have to pay attention.
Same effect. Just about add 200 miles an hour to it.
I'm the only guy in the world that could compare a 300cc Kimco to an American Superbike.
Or 150 miles an hour to it, or whatever.
Exactly. So Martin Cardenas really showing good body English here, really working the Yoshimura Suzuki factory bike over. Roger Hayden settling down here into that 2 spot, taking a look. Beaubier went up front. He sampled what it felt like to lead out of NASCAR 4 through the tri-oval for a couple of laps. Perhaps he's taken the Scott Russell mentality and chosen to go back to that 3 spot. And the laps are definitely winding down. They're working 13 of 15 here in American Superbike at the World Center of Racing at Daytona International Speedway, a place every rider wants to be able to add a check mark in the W column. High up on the banking.
We're going to have 1 lap to go when we come by here, Barry. If I'm not mistaken, the white flag. There's the starter with a white flag in his hand. Number 2 swoops to the outside. Beaubier, is he gonna make this happen? Is he gonna stay in the front? No, he's gonna let him go. That was a rehearsal.
You called it the dress rehearsal. I'm gonna go with you on that. Roger Hayden maybe decides he might want to try running up front and see if he can close the deal. Raj had a great race yesterday. He came up in the 2 spot, just 1 step up the ladder is all he wants to be here. As Beaubier looks to the inside of Cardenas, took a look up the inside of Roger Hayden. Hayden prevailed. Cardenas in the 2 spot. They're bar to bar here, bending into that right-hander. Now the switch back into the left, and Beaubier has assumed the 2 spot on Raj, spun the rear tire a little bit. That enabled Cardenas to get back up beside of him for the moment.
Yeah, it's interesting what Cam's doing here, lining himself up. He saw that he could make the pass on both the riders that last time by. Maybe decided it's safer just to have to deal with 1. So we're going to see how that plays out. He's put himself in that 2nd spot. Roger's doing all he can on that Suzuki to get out of that infield as quick as he can and try to make some kind of gap as they make that run down the back straightaway into the chicane one more time.
You can get a little bit of a gap here, and that's a good thing to have breathing room. Perhaps you can be a little calmer through that area. As you taught me yesterday, getting a good drive out of there is critical.
Kind of lined it up perfect. I don't think the Yosh Suzuki in 3rd's got anything for him. The number 2 right now, he's lined it up perfect, Barry. There he goes to the outside. He goes a long way around on Roger Hayden. He needs to stay away from Roger and try to break any draft or allow him to come back by him.
He did.
There you have it.
And he did. Cam Beaubier has done it. He has won the American Superbike race number 2 at Daytona. Scott, your color analyst work was spot on the money. He strategized. You were a little bit in his head. Look at him beating on the gas tank. I've done it. I've won Daytona.
Rookie winning in Daytona on a Superbike.
Amazing.
What a great feeling.
Truly impressive ride for him. Cam Beaubier, Roseville, California. Monster Energy Graves Yamaha rider. Has to be excited about his finishing position here. As your second place rider is number 95, Roger Hayden. He's second yesterday for the Yoshimura Suzuki factory team. He's going to be second again today. I'm sure he'll take that, but I know, as you do, that what he really wanted was to be on that top spot down here at Gatorade Victory Lane, but it's not to be. We, of course, will have our Gatorade Victory Lane celebration coming up, and we'll replay this race for you. We're going to Victory Lane, but first, let's take a look at the finish of Superbike Race 2, Scott.
Yeah, I mean, he just set it up perfect. He knew he had speed on the Suzukis all day. He's tested the waters plenty of times, lined himself up, decided not to have to do a 2-bike draft, just decided to do it 1-bike draft, got by Martin in the infield the lap prior, and then Roger was kind of sitting duck right there. But Roger's probably not thrilled with that, but Roger's probably leading the points. There's probably a tie almost between him and Beaubier as they leave here with the problem that Josh Hayes had. And so both those riders, all three, and Martin, he's got to be happy. He finished the race today, so there you go.
Yeah, he did, and you're right. Raj probably will have the points lead after this one. Run down through your top 10 briefly here for you in just a moment. Again, Gatorade Victory Lane, they're busy down there getting things set up for that. We've got plenty more to come here today, including the 73rd running of the Daytona 200. That race has been happening since 1937. The tradition and the pageantry is one thing, but the true historical aspect of the 73rd running in that it's the last year to be run under middleweight GoPro Daytona Sport Bike specs. Next year it'll be a Superbike affair. These bikes will be your Daytona 200. So there is the man who can now say that he has won here at Daytona. Let's take a brief look at your finishing results. It is Cam Beaubier on the R1 Yamaha, top the order. Roger Hayden second. Martin Cardenas will finish in the 3 spot. Yet another good ride for Chris Clark here today in the 4 spot. Aussie Dave Anthony will take 5th. The KTM of Chris Fillmore 6th. Perlucci will finish in the 7th spot on his Suzuki. Taylor Knapp 8th. Corey West in the 9th spot. And the Honda of Chris Ulrich, number 18, will finish in the 10th spot. As we already can see from our vantage point here, the bikes arriving here at Gatorade Victory Lane. That's such a feeling. You know you're in one of the most historic victory lanes in America down here at Gatorade Victory Lane. There's just a feeling there, Scott, that you just can't describe.
No, that was always my favorite turn on the racetrack, that left turn into Victory Circle after all this. So it's a great feeling, no doubt, and it's a big deal down here for these kids.
It's time now to throw it down trackside. We're going to Gatorade Victory Lane live with Danielle Teal.
All right, we got to kick things off with number 2, Cameron Beaubier. Cameron, what a great way to start your rookie season in the Superbike class. Congratulations on your rookie win.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks so much. I just can't thank my team enough. You know, my bike had some legs this weekend. I was struggling a little bit getting it off the corner. Just learning every time I get on the bike, like I said before. And yeah, I just can't give it up to my team enough. And thank you so much,
guys.
Wow, that's short but sweet. He said all the things he had on his short list. Now he'll have time to think about his words a little now more carefully, because he'll be up on the podium soon for the official. But an excited young man did what you said. He learned from his mistakes.
Yeah, he learns every time he goes on the bike, and he's like a sponge right now. So everything, and he's riding with the Superbike champ next to him in the same team. He's got a great program going right now. Yamaha's got their hands on a great young rider, and I expect them to carry him on through, and it's going to be a great year for Cam Beaubier.
What's Roger Hayden going to say?
Yeah, I want to hear it today.
As we all do. Martin Cardenas certainly is going to be more pleased with his 3rd place finish today than what he netted yesterday. Still, again, another great ride by Chris Clark. Chris is strong. He was 4th yesterday and 4th today. So let's do it again. Let's go back down to Gatorade Victory Lane. Danielle.
That's right, new team, but your old number and looking more like your old self, still chasing that win, but congratulations on 2 second-place finishes here this weekend.
Yeah, you know, come out here with the points lead is really good. You know, first race for the whole Yoshimura Suzuki guys. Really went good. You know, 2 second places, but to lose that close is a little disappointing. But you know, leave here with a good amount of points is a good start to the season. So once again, thanks to my team, Yoshimura Suzuki, Rye Helmets, Alpine Star Leathers, Parts Unlimited, Motor X, just all the guys, Renthal, Monster Energy, my crew, and I want to thank all you guys at home watching this online and supporting us. I get a lot of people tweeting me yesterday and showing how much they enjoyed the race. So we all appreciate your support, so keep watching.
Danielle Teal with the thoughts of Roger Hayden. He said pretty much exactly what you surmised that he was feeling and thinking. He's got the point lead. He tried to say, I'm really disappointed in not winning the race, and I'm sure he was, but the point lead's what he wants.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, that's the main goal, is to win the championship. And in race wins, you know, you like them, but the points lead is a big deal for him. He knows it's going to be a short year, but a long year, and yeah, what a great way to start the year.
I tell you, this is so fun. For the final time, we're going to Gatorade Victory Lane and Danielle.
That's right, third place here today, number 36, Martin Cardenas. Martin, you had a bit of an issue yesterday, a little bit of a get-off, but today you were able to redeem yourself and battle very hard to get a third place here.
Yeah, today much better than yesterday. Yesterday I couldn't ride the bike as I wanted to, and had a little crash, but today I bounced back. I think we did a good race. I was hoping for maybe a little second and first, but today it wasn't possible. I don't make this last part of the race very good, so third was good enough for today, and I'm happy for me and for all the Yoshimura Suzuki team.
To mature as a superbike rider. By the way, thank you, Danielle, for bringing us Cam Beaubier's thoughts, but our Cardenas' thoughts. But Martin's getting there, isn't he?
He is. This is his third season on a superbike. He did a year with one team, and then he came back to the 600s. Now this is his second year on the Yosh Suzuki. So to finish up right there with the lead pack after what happened yesterday, that's a real plus for him. The slight mistake yesterday, probably made some adjustments to the motorcycle today, and he's going to get him a race win this year somewhere along the line, and you know he's going to continue to grow as a rider as well.
Victory lane for our podium celebration.
Wow.
American Superbike, probably one of the best superbike races we've seen. I'd like to get started right away with third place, number 36, Martin Cardenas. Come on up here, Martin. Martin, you had a bit of an issue yesterday, a small crash that cost you a podium position, but today you were able to put it up here on the box. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I have to give it up to my team because they work on the setup from yesterday to today, and the bike was much easier to ride, and I could maintain a good pace. I was losing a little bit of time. Exiting the chicane is always a nightmare for me here, but I do what I could on the other parts of the track, and I was able to hang on and was hoping for maybe a last lap charge on the draft, but it wasn't possible. So third is a good result, and I'm happy for me and also for the Yoshimura Suzuki team.
Congratulations, number 36, Martin Cardenas. And in second place here today, the number 95, back with his old number, Roger Hayden. Let's hear it for second place. Roger, you now have the points lead. I know you struggled last year on the Suzuki to keep up with the Yamahas, but you actually had something for them this weekend.
Yeah, it was both races were really good. A little disappointing being so close to winning both races and not getting one, but to leave Daytona with the points lead, you can't really be too disappointed about that. Got to thank the whole Yoshimura Suzuki crew for all the hard work they did this winter, and you know, we're definitely in the thick of it, so I'm looking forward to getting the season really started in a few months.
Congratulations, second place, number 95, Roger Hayden. And his rookie weekend, number 2, Cameron Beaubier. Let's welcome him to the stage. Let's hear a round of applause for him. Congratulations, Cameron. Like I said, it's your rookie weekend here at Daytona International Speedway. What a way to come in and throw it down.
Yeah, thanks so much. You know, I just got to give it up to my crew, Monster Energy Graves Yamaha, for giving me a really fast bike this weekend. I was struggling a little bit in that race getting off the corner, but I'm really lucky. My bike had some steam. Yeah, just thanks to everyone, and I'm looking forward to getting to some road courses and seeing what I have for Josh.
Let's hear it one last time for your top 3 in American Superbike.
All right, that's it. Danielle covering all the action from down in Gatorade Victory Lane. I hope you enjoyed that American Superbike race number 2 here as much as we all did here at the racetrack, because it was a fun one here. Just the strategy of that race and all the racing here in Daytona. Let's take a moment and recap that race number 2. There's a good look. There's David Atlas, one of the managing member of AMA Pro, walking the grid. There's your start. Cam Beaubier leading them in. Roger Hayden already being aggressive here at the start.
Yeah, it was kind of the same kind of the players as they were from yesterday, although we got Martin stayed on the bike, and a lot of drafting going on here at start-finish, a lot of testing each other just to see how each other stood up. I mean, really, this comes down to a half-a-mile run to the start-finish line, basically. And but these guys were battling around, trying to figure out, could I get away? You know, nobody could really make the break, and then Josh Hayes here back and forth with his teammate.
And here in the early going, Josh Hayes wrestling the bear. He comes to the head of the class. He falls back to 4th. He comes back to the head of the class. He goes back to 4th. Then he runs 2nd for a little while, Scott, and then he's out of the race. I'm anxious to find out what went badly wrong with the Monster Energy Graves Yamaha to put him out.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they've run so strong over the last several years without any hiccups, and then he had issues here last year where he had 2 issues. Luckily, he had one good race. He won that, got maximum points, and here you can see the little slip of the rear tire right there on the exit of 1. That wasn't where the bike gave up on him, but he's still in the running, and still felt, I'm sure he had a chance to win this thing until the bike went south on him. But the Suzuki riders did all they could do. Look at Martin. It's a difficult racetrack, Barry. Much different from the 200 track that we've known and that the 200 guys will run on. It's a more physical racetrack through the infield, but again, you still get that same effect from NASCAR 3-4 down into turn 1, that big drafting move.
And there's a good look at the drafting here through the tri-oval. The chicane, which has been problematic for a few guys here this weekend, including that man, ran just wide. And as Scott Russell explained, as soon as he tapped the brake, which was a double-edged sword, he had to tap the brake, but he knew when he did, he'd likely tuck the front, and it was a pretty hard get-off, much harder than you would think. They're carrying a lot of speed on the entrance of that corner.
A little bit of a mistake right there by Cam in the chicane. It's so difficult to really maximize your braking and to put the bike on the right line as you go in that chicane. If you overcook it just a little bit, you can make a slight mistake like we just saw.
And a slight mistake in American Superbike is too much, the tiniest of mistakes. And there was the spot where Roger Hayden touched the yellow paint stripe down on the bottom of the racetrack and had a little moment.
Looks like the rear wheel spun a little bit as it got down on that paint right there, but nevertheless, he shrugged that off and went right back to work, running his teammate back down to get back in the lead of this race and kind of trying to control the race.
When they repaved the track, I was given a nice little chunk of pavement that's got the yellow stripe on it. Back in the day, it was a slicker paint. Now this paint, it's got a little like abrasive in it, so you get a little bit of a bite on it. Still, you can spin the rear tire because it's not asphalt. We're watching the closing moments of this one. It became a 3-rider battle at this point with Josh Hayes out of the picture. There's Beaubier taking a look to the inside of Cardenas. He's trying to set himself up. My partner here in the booth, Scotty Russell, said, I think he wants to be second, and he did exactly that. He worked his way up into the 2 spot behind Roger Hayden. They're working their way back, looking for everybody's thinking now not about where they are on the racetrack. I don't think right now. They're thinking about NASCAR 4 in the tri-oval. That's where this race is going to be won or lost. Scott Russell said he wants a good drive out of that. He wants to get some distance on him. It wasn't enough distance. Here comes Beaubier under the draft. Hayden decides, okay, I'm going to pull in behind him now that he's in front of me and try to draft by him. There just wasn't time. and Cam Beaubier wins at Daytona. Roger will settle for the 2 spot, and Martin Cardenas 3rd, and the Yoshimura Suzuki Monster Energy Graves Yamaha battle will now have to head to Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin and Road America to figure out then who's going to be supreme and who's going to reign supreme as we look to the victor go the spoils. And there's that smile right there standing atop the box. Daytona International Speedway, there's no place like it on earth. I'm Barry Boone. If you're just joining us, I'll be with you throughout the balance of the 2014 season. I'm proud to say, standing to my immediate right is a man who's won this race, the Daytona 200, 5 times. He's a World Superbike champion. He's in the Hall of Fame. Here's a look at your results. Cam Beaubier did it. He brought the Yamaha R1 to the top of the order. Roger Hayden, Martin Cardenas, Chris Clark will be 4th. Another good effort for him. Suzuki 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, with Dave Anthony bringing up the 5th spot. Phil Moore on the KTM, another great run. There's 11th through 20th. Pegram on the EBR with a 16th. Don't worry, he'll get that thing figured out and he'll be better. That's a good motorcycle for Pegram. We see Sean Dwyer back there on the Kawasaki will be your final finisher in the 22nd starting spot. Hope you're having fun, because we certainly are. That's a quick recap and results.